Hey everybody, a little bit of a discussion video today, primarily about slings. I use both two and single point slings, okay, depending on where I'm working, where I'm operating, the potentials, and just having a backup sling in general, the potentials with sling application on the rifle. Right here on the front, I've got the Magpul. It's actually a Magpul QD mount, but it fits the HK style hooks no problem. So that's my hook point there. And then on the back here, I've got the Magpul ASAP. So it's ambi for either side. The ASAP castle nut and sling mount combination. This way I have single point for single point slings, bungee slings, as well as for 2-point slings. There's a lot of stuff on the market and a lot of discussions with this kind of stuff. And honestly, it always comes down to what do you want? What do you want performance-wise out of your sling and a product in general, and what are your intentions are in operations. 2-point slings, a little more practical for in the woods and things like that. 1-point slings are actually more practical if you're in vehicles a lot and if you're in an urban environment. Ask me how I know. So that's why I've had the ASAP on there really since the beginning. When I did the initial changes to this rifle, I put the ASAP on there because I was running 1-point a lot, because I was in and out of vehicles a lot, and doing a lot of other like urban training and things like that. When I'm out in the woods, I've got the 2-point on here. It's very easy, obviously, to get on and off. Simple hook system. Okay, I do not trust QD mounts. John from UW Gear, Alpha Charlie Concepts, he has talked about the same thing. A lot of people that are using QDs, guess what? That shit pops out so freaking easy. Like, I'm sorry, QD mounts are not reliable. I do not trust QDs. Hooks, and the variety of different kinds of hooks. Okay, standard, more HK style hook, or like you see like Blackhawk with the pinching hook that's like rounded, like 2 rounded bits that overlap, and you pinch them to open it up, and then you feed it in through. That's what I use for a single point, that type of hook connection on the ring back here for the ASAP. That's the stuff that I prefer, and that's what I recommend that someone should go with and again, in different variations, paracord looping and things like that too. But I don't trust QD mounts. I don't. You don't have to agree with me on that, but when that thing starts wearing out and popping out of the socket, you'll know why. Or just a hard pull on it and it will pop out of the socket. That's not very practical for long-term use and heavy use in a high-stress and combat environment. Just my opinion. For long-term use especially. Yeah. So that's what I have to say about that. Notice this isn't set all the way forward. There is a reason for that. And also, the sling that I'm using, this is a very basic sling. It's actually a high-strength nylon sling from basically a sling bag, instead of some of the more ridiculously priced rifle slings out there that are this simple and this basic. Again, what do you need? What is the effectiveness and METC application for what you're using with various parts and components for yourself, okay, in your equipment, okay? So again, things to think about long and hard. You don't need something terribly crazy. You can go with something fairly simple. And it's got nice heavy-duty hooks on it, which I really like. Other than that, that's really the big thing is I prefer and recommend people go with a hook system or a more solid connection system than QD, than quick detach. You're going to run into issues. That stuff wears out really quick. Ask me how I know. And a lot of other people who have experience with failures with equipment like that will tell you the same thing. So that's just how I like to run it. If you want to run this hook back here somewhere, go for it. I like it up here. Again, specific part and parcel and reason for the way I have the placement of my connection points for my sling on my rifle. And yeah, that's about it there. So things to think about, people. And again, John, UW Gear, Alpha Charlie Concepts has talked about this before, as have some other people, and right in the same boat with them. So remember that. Also, different light on this rifle now. I've got the ProTech, Streamlight ProTech on here with the 100 Concepts light cap. Loving it. Thank you, 100 Concepts. Fantastic light cap. And this light is bright as shit. Another thing, I don't use pressure pads. Ask me how I know. There's a reason why I don't use pressure pads, and also why light caps are smart to have on your lights. If you know, you know. So that's also why I run the light on my left side, because it's easier to access with the thumb, and where I have my sling mount placed, again, doesn't get in the way of all of this. Something to think about, folks. If you're going to use a pressure pad, use a pressure pad, but you better frickin' make sure that you have covers for your lights and your D-balls and everything, so that you're not negligently discharging and all of a sudden giving yourself away. Because that'll be the end of you. Yep. That's really all I have to say about slings. And then the fun little bit there. Think long and hard about the equipment that you're using and how you configure it for your uses. And give yourself a little bit of room for options, just in case things do dynamically change. Okay? That's really all I got to say about that, but fun little video for you guys. Metal up! Out!